Sony believes that they have the next Venom level franchise with Morbius. Now, whether this is going to pan out as a success or a failure for them, that quite clearly remains to be seen. But now we're hearing that if it does succeed, Sony is planning on making Morbius a huge thing going forward. Almost sort of like a centerpiece of their entire Spider-Verse. Now again, Sony is nothing if not foolish in regards to trying to plan ahead before they know if it's a success or a failure. We saw this with The Amazing Spider-Man. They literally announced a whole slate and had another handful of projects in development, and well, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 happened and that was the end of everything. So it makes sense that they haven't publicly said what they plan to do with the future of the Spider-Verse in regards to how much more Morbius we're getting. But from what we hear from insiders and even big Hollywood trades is that Sony is hoping that Morbius can kind of become the next big franchise. Now, what exactly would be big? Well, previously, and despite some sort of weird fluke like Spider-Man, where it's like, man, everybody wants to see this even during the pandemic era, I think realistically, you'd have to look at like 450 to 500 million as a huge success. But that would be on something like a Venom Let There Be Carnage, which didn't even secure a Chinese release date, which is still an impressive number nonetheless. And I think Sony needs Morbius to at least have a decent enough review score when it comes to fans, but I think the box office has to be there as well. And another big factor in this, and I think this is a huge one, the interest online. If Morbius comes out and it's a thing that people talk about for a weekend and then there's nothing, I think you have the signs of this thing isn't going anywhere, because you need the people's mind share. You need the interest. Now, planning a trilogy, that's all good because you're hopeful and you're starting to look ahead. But to me, planning this giant Spider-Verse crossover and integrating everything into one universe and trying to say, oh, we're going to see this as a trilogy and we're going to leave some things kind of to explore in the future and leave some mystery and crossover potential, kind of signals to me that they're back at The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or even Venom 1, where they're not committing to a full story and they're giving us a half story in hopes of the hype building up a sequel. And I don't think that's fair because, for all we know, Morbius could bomb, and that's a problem. Because then that universe essentially has another problem on top of films that aren't being received so highly. So what are you going to do with Kraven? Are you going to pivot hard? What do you do with Venom 3? What do you do with the potential Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield crossover, which has been rumored? Again, there's so much to consider here that I hope Sony knows what they're doing, but history tells me maybe they don't. And even recent history with them going, yeah, we just got back Spider-Man, we're going to just toss him into Venom Let There Be Carnage. To me, guys, that just doesn't sound good.